Okay, everybody, thank you for coming to this class today. I feel utterly unprepared, even though I've spent most of this last week preparing, as well as serving in several of the units that we'll discuss. Please unmute yourself and speak up if you have something to say. I don't see the chat right now. I guess I could hit my chat window here. If you do post something in chat, I'll be watching. So this presentation is on scouting opportunities for older youth. This is, again, a council-defined course for the CED continuing education part of commissioner service. So this is a council kind of semi-specific. I'll try to be somewhat generic, so it should work anywhere. But we will probably end up talking about a few things in our council specifically. So just to start off with, I always like the important part to me in scouting is always the mission and the vision of the Boy Scouts of America. Both of these are very important. And they fit all the programs from Cub Scouts all the way up through Learning for Life and venturing, Sea Scouts, and exploring. Again, the goal, the mission that we're on is to prepare every young person to make ethical and moral choices over their lifetimes by instilling in them the oath and the law. Daily, I find examples in my own life of where the oath and the law actually applied. And, you know, instilling that into them is hard to do. Maybe gets a little easier as they get older and you have more experiences with them. So they're very important. And again, every eligible youth in America to become a responsible, participating citizen and leader who is guided by the oath and the law. A lot of what we teach is citizenship, activity, participation, hard work, hard experiences. That's a lot of what these older youth programs are really about. Is diving in and doing what you don't want to do, but getting it accomplished anyway, and then hopefully seeing how that benefited someone else. So why do we want to keep these older youth in our scouting programs? Really, I think it came down to these four things. More opportunity for them to learn leadership from good leaders. More chances for them to lead their own peers. All the older youth programs are youth-led, even more so than the scout troop is, because really it's up to them to plan the programs, as we'll talk about. And hopefully that gives them the opportunity to build on the experiences they've already had in previous programs. In Scouts BSA, they get a little bit of that as senior patrol leader and as a patrol leader to lead, but for sure when you join venturing and Sea Scouts, it's the next level up. And they have way more opportunities. They continue to build those values again that we just talked about. You have youth that are sometimes busy. I know my own son is 15 and he's in a venture crew and the Sea Scout ship here in Utah County. And he's got a job and he's got schoolwork and it's getting harder for him to come. So hopefully that gives him some more opportunities to build those important values while he's participating with friends and with other adults. Higher adventure for sure. All these older youth programs offer more than a camp out once a month. They might offer less camp outs, but the activities they go on are way harder and way more interesting to them. And there's way more flexibility again. It's not every month, or if it is every month, it might not be the same level. It might be something close to home, like going to the climbing wall instead of going to southern Utah and rappelling for a day. That takes a little more planning and execution. And several of the programs, especially exploring and Sea Scouts, have a very large component that can actually lead to career opportunities and future interests, and maybe even getting started on a program early because they have the opportunity to participate. So that's why we keep them here. Besides them being able to lead and give that example, they're great programs to work with. So in scouting, we have four programs, or four main, three programs and some other opportunities to work with. Venturing, Sea Scouts BSA, and exploring are all great programs, and we're going to dive in each one of those a little more deeply to help you understand the basics. Again, this is a high-level class. We're welcome to talk as we go deeper into what the programs can offer and some of those features. And then some training opportunities and some leadership opportunities that they have as well as they progress through those programs. Okay, so venturing, our first program. Again, this is for youth 14 to 20 or 21 when they age out at 21. It's a sad day because usually they've learned a lot. They've participated a whole lot. I've had several youth here in the last couple months. They're turning 21 and aging out. So we're going to miss them. It is both program. This program is co-ed, and it's formed of crews in the local area with advisors that give them kind of direction and set some standards, help them follow the Guide to Safe Scouting. But there are no set schedules. It's up to each individual crew to define their own schedule and plan their activities. That's what makes the crew special and fun, is the crew members decide what they want to do. The crew I'm associated with, a few years ago, the youth had the idea that they wanted to go do archery, but they also wanted to do it on horseback. So I see Richard there giving the hand of the head. I don't think they ever actually accomplished their goal of doing that, but two great worthy activities that combine fun for everybody. Of one, learning mastery of the bow and the arrow, and two, maybe learning to master the horse, and then combining those and trying to do them at the same time. Again, it's youth defined. What they can dream, they can do if they can fund it. Like most scout programs, the adults try to say less about what you can and can't do and more of what's possible and what can you afford to do. Really comes down to it. A lot of these older youth do have jobs again, so they can fund their own program. They don't have to do fundraisers. They don't have to wait on a specific season to do something. If they want to go, they can figure out how to make it go and save up and go. So again, the program is full of fun. This is kind of a quick slide of, this is all, so all the content you'll see here today is from Scouting BSA's or scouting.org and all the information they have out there on these programs. Again, sometimes it's to acquire new skills. Archery is a great skill. You can use it to go bow hunting. You can go use it just for fun. You can use it to move ropes across the ravine that you can't cross to another person on the other side, things like that. So and every crew is different. Some specialize in winter sports and snow skiing and biathlons. Some in shooting. We have some good friends in Colorado that their whole program is all wrapped around shooting sports, and their youth are actually NRA certified as instructors as well as compete in tournaments. And that's what their venture crew does. They have fun with that. There are other crews that are more about aquatic sports, which we'll talk about here in a minute. You can have a crew focused on that, but you can also have a Sea Scout ship that's a little more aquatics based. But there's no reason a venture crew couldn't be aquatics or water based as well. Maybe it's backpacking. Maybe they want to go to Philmont and the Summit and Northern Tier. All those programs are open to these scouts. Some of them are, maybe there's one, and we'll talk about this in exploring too, maybe they like building old classic cars. That's totally cool. If they have an adult leader and a group of adult leaders that are into that as well, all the better, and they can figure out how to fund their parts lists and build these cool cars. Again, as I mentioned, the goal is to have positive leadership experiences as well as interacting with adults continuously and getting those experiences and growing into who we need them to be for government reasons and for participation in society in general. We all need leaders. And with that goes the ethical decisions that have to be made along the way. Again, caring is also a big thing these days. We got to care about everyone. So that's kind of the overview of what the program offers. The program itself is based on the A.L.P.S model, which is adventure, which we've talked a lot about so far. Again, leadership, personal growth, and service. That's A.L.P.S. That's all through the program. That's how they earn ranks, is based on following through on these 4 elements. It's just kind of a guide outline of what they should be looking for. The program itself is they run the program for the year. Each youth is assigned, or volunteers, I guess. We have a crew president who leads the group from the youth level. Each youth is asked to volunteer to lead a event for the year. They get to plan the event, how it's going to happen, when it's going to happen, and that's kind of their personal growth as well as leadership opportunity for the year within the crew. So they plan that. Again, the advisors are there to help them plan, each person individually plan their activity, and maybe they have to get all of their crew together and plan it together at some level. Like, hey, we want to do this. Will you bring the food? Will you bring the tents? Will you bring the climbing gear? Kind of a thing, where everybody has a piece of involvement in that planning. But one of the other youth, not the president, is in charge of that activity. Past activities, again, we've gone to the climbing wall. We've gone down to the Provo Beach Resort and surfed at the resort. Not far, not extravagant, but a good time by peers having fun together. And again, fun is the goal. That's the personal growth. We'll see it when we get to the Sea Scouts things. There's a fun element there as well. And stop me if I'm going too fast. Speak up, comment. I'm happy to stop and talk about some other things, or hear your comments as well. The goal or the focus of venturing itself, I didn't mention this earlier, the theme is lead the adventure. So again, this is all kind of about them learning to lead adventure, have fun, and do some other things as well. And then of course, service, which is a big element of all of scouting as well, is in there to give service to others and help them grow in that way. So again, in venturing, we have 4 ranks. The venturing rank is earned as the first step. It's pretty entry level. Go attend a ceremony basically that welcomes you into venturing, learn about the model, and say you want to be a venturer. That's kind of the 3 big requirements there. And then go have fun with your friends. Kind of that's the step. The discovery rank, the second one there, that's this yellow one with the yellow border and the compass. As they participate, they discover new things, new interests, new talents, and they're asked to kind of explore those and go a little further as their eyes are open and their world expands. And they, again, usually as they age, they become more available or more capable of doing more things. The third rank, the Pathfinder rank, again, now they're taking on a little more leadership roles in the troop with the president or vice president of program or activities, and some of those things. So they're asked to take on some more responsibility for making sure everyone else is participating and having the adventure that they've come for, and maybe a little more formal planning for the year. And lastly, the summit rank, which in my mind is equal to that of the Eagle Scout rank in Scouts BSA. It shows a lot of hard work and a lot of planning and a lot of dedication to achieving that goal. Again, there are still the leadership to the crew and the participation and stuff like that. And personal growth is all still in there. But they are asked to plan another Eagle level or higher service project towards for the community. That really shows that they are leading the adventure, not only for everybody, but also in serving each other in our community. So that's the 4 ranks. Also in venturing, they have some extra awards. So if you choose not to advance, I guess that's another key feature of these older youth programs. Advancement is of a different form. It's not a merit badge, earn a merit badge, earn a list of merit badges, and do these skills activities and advance. It's all about leadership and participation and service. So if you choose not to go on the general advancement track through the ranks, there are these other 3 activities that you can participate in. The Ranger Award exemplifies the challenging high-level outdoor adventure skills of the advancement program. And once earned, it shows that you've been outdoors a lot. I'll point out here, we'll talk about it a little later, inside the Ranger Award, there's the little powder horn. So hopefully their powder keg is packed and ready for that high explosive activity that is venturing. So again, it's an alternate way. You probably earn this along the way. You can do both programs. They do overlay each other. In doing the work for one, you'll probably do the work for the other as well. The Quest Award there in the middle requires them to take a little more self-learning about themselves, nutritional diet, exercise plans. Again, it's kind of a quest for fitness, quest for self improvement, and maybe it's participating in sports. Again, it's focused on themselves rather than outdoor adventure like the Ranger Award or the Trust Award that we'll talk here. That's more focused on the relationships with others. Again, it has the helping hands holding the world up there at the bottom, kind of signifying their trust of they are trustworthy to help society and cultures and people and all those diverse things that we have around. Well, we've always had them around, that we're trying to focus on, I guess, a little more these days. It says here on the content, the Trust Award venturers will learn more about themselves, their communities, and their religion and culture, as well as those of others. So again, kind of you've got outdoor adventure, self-introspective, and then community and society focus awards here as well that they can earn. Again, in doing these, you're probably going to fulfill the requirements and the ranks as well, and be a well-rounded person, which again is the goal of these programs, to keep them a little more focused. Any questions about venturing?
Yes. On these ranks and these awards, in our last class, they mentioned that these could not be recorded in Scout Book. Where do you record these? They
can be recorded in the Scout Book. You just have to have be registered as a venturer, and your program has to use it. It's not, the Scout Book support for venturing in Sea Scouts is not as great as it is for Scouts PSA and Cub Scouts, but they are there and they can be recorded. Okay. I know I've recorded my son's requirements for Sea Scouts as well. So they are there. Again, if you're not in a Sea Scout troop or a crew, a venturing crew, you don't see those other places to record them. And they can actually be members of both a troop, a venturing crew, and a Sea Scout ship all at the same time.
Okay.
And you can do those awards. If you're not a leader, I'm trying to think, if you're not a leader in those programs, if you see the other programs, I don't know. I've never not been a leader in all three programs, so I don't have an answer for that. But it's possible that you might not see it if you are not a registered Sea Scout leader, that you would see their Sea Scout advancement, even though it is there. One other thing I'll point out is both venturing and for Sea Scouts, once a youth has reached first class in a Scout troop, they no longer have to remain in the Scout troop. They can drop Scouts BSA and just join the crew or the ship. However, we recommend that they stay affiliated with a troop, just so that their Scout tracking towards Eagle is still available, because the Sea Scouts and the venturing don't have those awards listed underneath them as activities. They're only in the Scouts BSA program. So it's recommended or at least register with a troop. The crew I'm affiliated with also has a troop, so most youth are dual enrolled. Venturing becomes their primary and they participate there the most, but we can track their Scout advancement with the troop. And we form a little venturing patrol there so that all those Scouts that are not actively participating with the troop still have a home within the patrol. And if they do choose to participate, they have a patrol to be with. So that's kind of how that goes. Any other questions about venturing?
Just a comment, and I'd like to interject this every now and again. It was a problem that when venturing really started, it's this whole idea of what is high adventure. And these kinds of things need to be balanced. Now, admitted, I've had a somewhat colorful life, and I've been on things that would definitely be considered to be high adventure for an adult. Things that are high adventure for a youth are not necessarily the same kinds of things as these kinds of wild thrill-seeking sports or going off on top of Mount McKinley or other things that are quite dangerous. And in the early days of venturing, we actually did have several deaths. One rather bad, tragic one happened here in Utah some 20 odd years ago, maybe more than that now. And we need to be careful when we are kind of guiding and advising for high adventure things to ensure that they are appropriate for the skill levels. that these guys want to do. And you'd be surprised, boy, the kinds of things that a mountaineer would say, yeah, that's nothing. The kids will really think is high adventure and is pretty exciting stuff. And it's important to keep that in mind.
Yeah, for sure. And the guide to safe scouting still applies. And I know in the back of my edition that I have, it's a couple years old now. I just downloaded the current one today. There is a big chart that lists or shows what's appropriate for which age groups. And as Richard said, things that maybe a mountaineering specialist would say is trivial, or a backcountry snow skier would say are trivial because they've come prepared. They've got their inflatable life raft to surf out the avalanche, and their snow shovel and their spot locator. Those are things the youth might not consider. And again, that's where the advisor comes in. Another component I didn't mention in venturing is they have the concept of a consultant, where you would go consult with somebody who is a professional in that. With the ship, we have a good friend that works the Provo Canyon up Provo River, and they do the sailing and the rafting and those activities, or not the sailing, you don't sail on a river, but the kayaking and the rafting on the river. So if we wanted to go river rafting, we would go get in touch with them. Again, it's not a paid position, but we would consult with them and their expertise and use them to enhance our program. And maybe it's just a simple, maybe the first meeting is, hey, what do we need to know? What do we need to go get prepared on? And then the youth can lay out a plan to prepare those steps so that they're up to the level of the adventure that they're choosing to go on. No adventure, unlike a scout troop, I guess, that goes camping every month or nearly every month. Usually they're pretty front country. Maybe they go backpacking for a few days, but they stay in maybe improved areas where certain things are less of a hazard. Like there are bear boxes present, and they don't have to know how to hang a bear rope and bear proof their camp as much. Versus the venturing and the Sea Scouts, they might go on a 7-day backpacking trip and have never see another person the whole time because they are in the back country. That's a different skill set kind of, and they need to work up to that. It's not just an instantaneous, let's go do this. Much like I'm sure all of us as adults can agree that camping and hiking and some of those activities are a little more strenuous now than they were 20, 30 years ago when we were youth. And it was, well, sure, we can go run a marathon tomorrow, no problem, because they come back a lot quicker than we do. So yeah, that's venturing in a nutshell, the basics, the highlights, the important parts, the fun parts. I know in our council, venturing is not the best supported. It's not the biggest program by far. We would love to have more venturing, but we really need good leaders that are dedicated and focused and willing to help the youth advance and participate. I know I'm associated with or touch base with 3 or 4 crews here in the state of Utah, but that's about it. I know there could be a whole bunch more. The lists are short usually. I've been working with some people down in southern Utah to try and start a venture crew down there so that they can have some fun in the St. George area. And it's just the next level. It's another program. It has new features, new things. Again, rank advancement and awards aren't maybe the focus. Just like we talked about, JTE is important and guides us. The ranks and advancements and awards and guide us, but they're not maybe the focus. They're side things that we do as we progress through the program on our own. So very much focused on keeping them together, making them learn to work as a team, giving that leadership opportunity and that adult mentoring. Really in venturing, the adults do become the mentors more than the leaders or the first line directors of how the program's working. Okay, with that, we're going to move on. Don't want to go over time here, although we got plenty of time. Sea Scouts, this is another awesome program. Today I'm actually wearing my Sea Scout blues. This is our official uniform. I wear it around because there's only 3 units in the state right now in our council. We'd like to get more. It's another great program, mirrors a lot of venturing. We are called ships, and we're all across the country. You think of sailing and water activities being mostly on the oceans, on the edges of the country. But we have in our program, we have stuff for sailing, we have stuff for paddleboarding, we have kayaking. My joke is that Sea Scouts do everything on the water. In our case, sometimes the water just happens to be frozen because it's the wintertime here and we're skiing and sledding and snowshoeing and doing those kinds of activities. But we get out, we do everything that all the other scout groups do. We're no different that way. But we do have some more focus on the maritime traditions and history and skills than the other programs specifically. And just like venturing, it's a place to grow, it's a place to give leadership and build friendship. So Sea Scouting, instead of A.L.P.S, like in venturing, we have 4 S's. We focus on seamanship, which is the knots, the lashings, cooking on the water, knowing how to sail and navigate waterways. We go to the Coast Guard Auxiliary Safe Boater classes. Again, just general education on how to be a good sailor, how to use the water. We also do scuba and snorkeling. Our ship down here in Provo just this last spring went down and got scuba certified, and we've been down to St. Hollow and St. George and had a fun time scuba diving there for a couple of dives. Again, anything that brings the youth together is open. I threw some pictures in here these are all from the Scouts BSA Brand Center that I talked about earlier. So all the pictures in here you see are from Scout web pages or the Brand Center itself. So the second thing is scouting. Again, we do have ranks, which we'll talk about here in a minute, but we do participate in parades. Lots of tradition there. You know, we do festivals, we do all sorts of stuff. For Halloween, our ship partnered with the Coast Guard Auxiliary, who is our national partner in Sea Scouting, to host a boat at the Truck or Treat here in Orem. It was a Touch a Truck was the old Orem event where they let the little kids come see the big machinery and the dump trucks and the garbage trucks and fire trucks. And so, you know, we're Sea Scouts. We don't have any land equipment per se. So we got the Coast Guard to bring out their patrol boat, dual outboard, 90 horsepower engines, big boat, got a cabin, got antennas on top, got the siren. And we had a good time letting kids look at the boat and see the boat and get on the boat, put on a life jacket. And we do a lot of advocacy for safety on the water. So all those kind of things. And we just got to participate. Third thing there, service. Again, just like venturing, we focus on service. In the ranks, the service is actually split between the service to the ship and service to the community. As most of our vessels and equipment that we use requires regular maintenance. So that's service to the ship part that we do. And some of those are good skills. Knowing how to refinish fiberglass sailing boats or fiberglass equipment is a good skill, whether it's Bondo and we're doing, you know, professional level stuff or just kind of filling holes or drilling holes and putting rivets in. All sorts of stuff we need to use. There's some engine repair if you have a bigger ship. Just regular maintenance, how to repair the sails and those kind of things. Lots of stuff, lots of service to be done. And again, community services as a scouting thing. We do that for everybody. We participate in scouting for food. It's just fun to see all the different color uniforms, and everybody tells us we have the coolest uniform of all. These blues are they can make us kind of, people think we're policemen sometimes or some other kind of police organization, but they are really cool and they're really basic. The uniform that we wear, actually you can buy at Walmart. The pants and the shirt, you can all buy at Walmart for under $60 kind of a thing. And then there's just a little logo you sew on and a couple of patches and you've got a scout uniform for Sea Scouts. So again, the last element here is social. Kids like to be social. We provide that opportunity. Maybe they're out on the lake paddleboarding together or kayaking. Maybe they're at a reception. Some of the units have an annual Christmas ball where everybody dresses up in their nice formal uniforms. The ladies wear dresses if they would like, and we have a dance and a party and have a good time. That's all in our program as well. Maybe it's a bonfire, steak fry on the edge of the water because we like the water and we wouldn't want to do something without our water. You know, maybe anything that's fun. Again, the youth planned here. We don't make our decisions, or the adults don't make the decisions for the youth. They have to do their own thing. Okay, any questions about that so far? Okay, Sea Scout ranks. We have 4 ranks. They sort of progressively get harder. Just more is asked of them to do. Most of them involve knowing some knots and some sailing terms and experience and opportunities. We have some radio and apprentice where they have to know how to make radio calls for emergencies. And then from there, it just gets more and more nautical, historical based, some ship definitions, some things like that. Again, quartermaster is our highest rank there at the bottom. The patch logo is just the helm part, doesn't have a little ribbon, of course, but it has the scout logo inside the helm there. And it's another equal to Venturing Summit or Eagle Scout Award, where there is a significant amount of work put in, a big service project required, and all those kind of things. So it's another great program. 4 ranks, moves it through. We have, they're pretty basic patches, but they look really cool on the uniform. Again, because our navy blue uniform, the black patch on it sticks out quite well. If you don't want to do the traditional rank advancement program, again, we have small boat handler and qualified seaman programs, which if you do those, you've got like 95% of the rank advancement requirements, so you almost end up doing both. These are maybe just a little easier to accomplish, but they both teach you important skills of being on the water and being safe and helping others. Our long cruise program, we say, is like summer camp. There are some requirements for the long cruise to be multiple days and spend time on the water. It doesn't have to be contiguous because sometimes that's not possible. But you must cruise on the water for at least 2 weeks on any vessel or boat that is authorized by the adult. So they spend 2 weeks sailing basically, or 2 weeks kayaking or canoeing at some point during their thing in a scheduled plan. And then there are actually bars that go around that long cruise patch to show how many times you've done it. So as they grow up, they get more opportunities and have more time to try and achieve that. And adults actually get to earn the long cruise patch as well if they accomplish that with the youth. And lastly, the marksmanship program, which I think is one of the most awesome programs in scouting. I didn't mention it in venturing, but venturers do get the opportunity to shoot handguns as well. So not only do you have shotgun and rifle, but you also have handguns as well. Sea Scouts have the marksmanship program, which again is focused on qualifications, hitting the target the right amount in the right place repeatedly, as targeting goes for shooting. And you can rank in each of those qualifications, and you get that cool little dangle underneath for each one as you achieve those goals. So it's a really cool program. Again, I think the crew that I know in Colorado that focuses on shooting sports, some of their youth are in the ship as well, and so they've been able to attain both awards. And it's totally acceptable and feasible that a youth participate in both Sea Scouts and venturing at the same time, and their service counts towards both programs. Their activities count towards both programs. Some of them, the crew and ship I know in Colorado, they actually meet twice a month as a ship and twice a month as a crew, alternating weeks. And so 1 week, one set of youth is in charge, and it's the same set of youth. So 1 week, one set of youth is in charge, and the next week, the other set of youth is in charge. And they plan their activities, and again, their bigger activities, I think they collaborate a little closer on when they're scheduled and how they're maybe meeting needs of both programs. So instead of summer camp, they go cruise for 2 weeks as a group, and they have a great time, and they learn lots of skills, and it's still achieved. So venturing and Sea Scouts go very well together. Great programs. Any questions about Sea Scouts? Again, in Utah, we have 3 ships. one in Provo, one in the Layton, Ogden area, and one up in Cache County, up in Logan. We'd love to have more. I'm actually working again with the group down in St. George area to form a ship down there. We went down a couple weekends ago. I have a trailer full of sailboats out in front of my house right now. Our ship went down to St. George and sailed with the scouts down there. We had 22 scouts earn the small boat sailing merit badge. And that's something our ship does. We teach the small boat sailing merit badge to anyone on the council that wants to come. Usually we do it here on Utah Lake because it's convenient. It's where the boats are. So another opportunity to interact with other scouts. I see no hands being raised or nobody speaking up. Okay, so that's Sea Scouts. Awesome program. Look into it. Bring us more youth. The last major program, Exploring. I was actually thinking about this as I was preparing for this. I'm like, I should talk to a few people and see if we could start a program for certain elements. Exploring is an odd duck, well, oddish duck in scouting, because there are no rank advancements. It's not about rank. It's about personal achievement, personal growth, and career opportunities, 100%. So again, there's life skills learned through all the opportunities. There's adult contact, adult interaction, mentorship. All those things are in the program, and that's what makes it fun. That's what makes it fit in with scouting, is it has all those elements. And while they might not say the oath or the oath and the law like the rest of the scout units do, they're very much there to support those concepts and values. Each Exploring Poster Club gets people together that want to do the same thing, much like the other programs do, and they pursue their growth and have their own interests. So instead of, I couldn't get the content out of the website, so instead of showing you this PowerPoint, we're just gonna jump over here to the Exploring page here. So this is the quickest way for me to show you what Exploring's got to offer. It's a very wide program. They've split things up into this focus area here, but I just want to scroll down here and we're going to go to the activity library. And I want to point this out here. So on the sidebar here are different areas of interest that the youth might be interested in, and where to find the resources to help do that. There is lots of stuff here. And pretty much whatever career you want to have in the future, they have a program. And again, like the other three programs, this is targeted at youth that are a little bit older, 14 and up to 21, to help them either have fun or get advancement on their career for the future. Just that is a long list of areas. I clicked on, obviously we've got the law enforcement, fire rescue, but there's law and government, science. If they like to do science projects, they need to find a group. I'm going to click on information technology here because I haven't clicked on it just for curiosity. And they have some outlines of what they should achieve and get done with. So go check out the Exploring site. Again, lots of clubs, lots of areas that they can grow into. I got the pop-up here that says we have 100 seconds left. So in that 100 seconds, let me see if I can switch the share here back to my PowerPoint window. Just real quick before it ends here, there are training programs out there. NYLT, both as a participant and as staff. Kodiak mirrors NYLT very closely and is done with your crew. NAIL, again, another great youth leadership program they can go to. SEAL is a Sea Scout kind of version of NAIL, where they go have fun whitewater rafting for a week and have lessons. But I would highly recommend any youth either go to NAIL or, well, any of these, and then go back on as staff. That's where they learn the most, is actually staffing it after having learned the skills. And as they get older, once they're past 18, they can return and take wood badge as well, which mirrors a lot of what they learn in NYLT, but more at the adult level. If they have the chance, high adventure bases are out there for that high adventure that kind of solve some of the planning and the preparation components, because they are controlled a little better. They have the program there. You register for that and you go. If anybody has questions about Philmont specifically, I'd love to talk. There are also some individual programs at Philmont on roving outdoor conservation, trail crew, STEM. They have all sorts of different programs for that as well. And then lastly, leadership opportunities in those units.